So Michelle, when we entered 2025, we decided to do this thing, new year, new guests. We're going to bring on people that we love, that we think are fascinating, that have never been on the show before. And I think we've had a great time doing that so far this year.
Yeah, it's been really special. And I'm glad we took that journey because they've always been wonderful. And I'm definitely looking forward to today's new guests.
That's right. We have brand new guests. Now, it's hard to say new year, new guests when it's October and we're in the last quarter of the year, but that's okay. We can still continue on the theme because today's guests are really, really fun. They're amazing people, Disney fans. Better yet, they're Run Disney aficionados, and they put those two things together to create a phenomenal podcast. It's the Stride Sisters podcast. Maybe you've heard of it. And we couldn't be more excited. We were on their show not that long ago and just had a blast with them. And now they've agreed to come on our show. Welcome, please, Hannah, Natalie, the Stride Sisters podcast, now on the Hyperion Adventures podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Podcast Inception.
Yay!
Thank you so much for having us.
Oh, thanks for coming.
Pleasure.
We're so happy
excited
to have you. I mean, we are the Disney podcast of positivity, but we feel, well, one, in general, the Run Disney community is such a positive, aspect of Disney and everything around it. But then your podcast is the same way. It shows so much support for people that are either doing their first Run Disney event or have done many Run Disney events. It's just a great way to kind of break into it. And we really appreciate you. But we're going to get into all that. Before we do that though, we need to get into some origin stories here and learn more about Hannah, Natalie. We need to know where your Disney fandom came from to start off with. Hannah, I want to start with you. How did you develop into a big Disney fan?
This story is really embarrassing because every time as I got more into Run Disney, my parents they acted very surprised. They were like, what happened to you? Like one day you're not a Disney fan and all of a sudden you're a full-blown Disney adult. I'm like, I don't think that's true. I think you just didn't realize. Because we went to Disney multiple times as a kid when I was growing up. I have entire scrapbook spreads from my childhood of visits to Disney, a whole at least 2-page spread on MGM, which will always be forever in our hearts. But yeah, so I've liked Disney for a really long time, and I think it's always been in there. But yeah, ever since we started the Run Disney, since we started our podcast and all of that, and as I've grown up and become less worried about what other people think of me, I've really let my my Disney freak flag shine.
Nice.
Love it.
Yeah.
Natalie, what about you?
Mine goes back to the cradle. I learned not too long ago that my nursery was Disney themed. It was Minnie Mouse themed. So I have been a Disney fan as long as I can remember. Many wonderful trips with my family growing up. And then it's funny because I considered having a little break. It was maybe a year or so off, quote unquote. And this is sure, Natalie. But when I was, exiting college, entering the real world, but also the thing was, once I pass the CPA, I'm going to treat myself, I'm going to make sure I go take a trip to Galaxy's Edge. What really launched me back into the Disney fandom was, again, I didn't really ever leave, but in my head I did, was I had an opportunity to go out to Southern California for the first time for a work trip. And I was in Manhattan Beach, California. And I was like, well, it's just as expensive to fly out on Friday and have some time in Southern California for 2 days before my conference or my training started. So went to Disneyland for the first time, first ever solo time in parks, really. I'd always been with my family. And that was oh, we are so back. Again, it never really left, but I had that opportunity to go out there. I went out to Disneyland a couple other times that year, all work related. It was awesome. And it was okay, we are so in.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
both
awesome.
both the stories are great. Love it, love it. So, now that we know your Disney fandom origin, what about getting into running as a hobby? How did that start growing into your life so much? Natalie, what about you?
Yeah, I was gonna
Start
say I
with
might be the better one to start with because I am enabler number 2.
Yeah.
Enabler enabler number 1 though is Maz. Um, Maz is my cousin, so we grew up together across the street. And in that summer of 2019, before I took that first Disneyland trip, she had told me that she was signing up for a race down at Disney World, and she had gotten a 10K bib for the princess race. And I go, "Oh, that sounds fun. How do I do that?" And I got myself a charity bib for the American Cancer Society, and my mom did as well. And we went down, we did our first Run Disney race. And as even though I was very nervous about that, I remember walking into it and like, this is so crazy to be up at 4 in the morning. That's when the races started at 5:30 as well. And I fell in love. I remember like seriously considering, because Star Wars was about 7 weeks later and then later canceled for COVID. But it's like, could I like do a half marathon then? Like, I don't know. But it was an immediate hook. The week when I came back, it was, I signed up for the Wine and Dine that was canceled. But it was like first half marathon, got to do it. And it was kind of just a hook from there where I was a swimmer in high school. I was a Irish dancer growing up, so I always wasn't the biggest fan of running, but it became this is a vehicle for more Disney. And now it's a little bit more of a no. I just actually do enjoy it. I'd hope by this point I'd enjoy it. Otherwise, I've been doing a lot of it to not enjoy it. And it was, I knew I wanted to do my first half marathon at Disney, so it came with the Princess Half Marathon in 2022 once races were back from the shutdowns. And I don't know, it's just always been something where I feel like I've been able to dare to dream and dare to do something that sounds crazy or that doesn't sound like something that was in my wheelhouse. And be like, there's enough people around here that if I put the work in, I can do that. And that's
Nice.
history from there.
Nice. Hannah, what about you?
Yeah, I have similar to Natalie. I was always like athletic growing up. I did soccer, competitive dance, swimming, water polo. I really leaned into in high school and college the swimming/water polo. I would tell people that I do not do land-based sports because I did not like running. Hated it with a burning passion, actually. And probably because it was always growing up, they use running as a punishment, which is terrible. And when we had to do running for swimming, which you would not think we had to do, but we did cross train after run. I had to wake up stupid early, which is not even as early as we wake up for Disney. But back then, as a high schooler, how dare you ask me to wake up before 5 a.m. And once I graduated from college, though, I kind of didn't really have an athletic outlet so much, and I didn't really know how to express myself in that way. I wasn't sure what I wanted, or I'd always had someone else, like a coach, telling me what to do. I'd never done it on my own or chosen to go do something because I always had a sport every season. I always had something. So that was interesting transition. I got super into hot yoga for a little while, and then COVID happened. And I decided I didn't want to be in a teeny tiny room that's very humid with a lot of other people breathing on me. Just in case, just in case. And that was when I first started dabbling with running, because it was kind of the only thing you could do. A lot of gyms were shut down, everything. And I was like, well, there's a trail. I can at least walk or run or something. That's how I found out that my shoes were way too old. I was running in 10-year-old shoes. And it didn't it wasn't I fell in love with it then. It didn't really stick. It was just sort of hit or miss. But it was a little bit after COVID, I moved to Atlanta and I saw that on social media, Natalie had been doing the Run Disney races, and I still hadn't really landed on anything uh, like athletic. I tried going back to water polo as an adult, and I did that for a little bit, but practices were at like 9 p.m. and I can't do that. So, yeah, once I saw Natalie doing it, she gave me I've always kind of been, if I see someone else having fun, why can't it be fun for you kind of person. Let other people's joy guide you a little bit, when you're seeking direction, and that's kinda how I started. I called Natalie random or maybe I texted her, I don't know, randomly one day and said, "Hey, I'm looking at interested in this Run Disney thing. I happen to be a registration day for Springtime Surprise." And she was like, "Well, today's the day because let's do this." And I texted my then boyfriend at the time, now fiance, and was like, "Hey, do you wanna run
Congratulations,
10
by the way.
miles?" Thanks. And he was like, "Yeah, I guess so. Sure." So we committed and then did not train. That was miserable. Don't recommend, because we got a puppy and life got in the way as it does. But ever since then, even though I like kind of hurt my toe a little bit during that race and then hurt my ankle, like, you just can't go back after that, and Disney was what helped me discover the Galloway method of run, walk, run, or walk, run, yeah, and ever since then, it hasn't felt like such a chore or anything, like, it doesn't feel painful. Before, I didn't know you could I'm competitive, so I didn't know you could do anything but run fast and hard. I didn't like it didn't compute in my brain that there's like "Oh, you can run slow," or, like, not try and kill yourself the whole time. And, Disney is what got me there, and I've l yeah, I've loved it ever since.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love that. Yeah, and I can totally relate to that, not having thought of the fact that you could either not be so fast or incorporate some walking with
Mhm.
there. So I agree with you. That's where I learned it
Mhm.
as well. So can
Yeah, I
totally
remember the
relate to that.
first race that I tried doing, incorporating that actually in my race as well. I did a Halloween race, which is very opportune time-wise for October, but, um, I I was doing that race and my parents decided to come down and cheer for us, and they happened to catch me. I didn't tell them that this was what I was doing, but they happened to catch me during a walk interval and like, "What are you doing? Why aren't you running? Run, 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 run." I'm like, "This is part of my plan. Don't mess with it." And they didn't get it, and then I had to try and explain it, and it took a little while for them to come around to the idea, but now they've seen me complete multiple marathons, so I think they understand.
That's amazing.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Love that. Love that. Love
One,
both stories.
yes, absolutely. One of the things about that run walk interval we've noticed that we've started doing, well, we've been doing it for a long time with Run Disney races, is you walk, and then as soon as there's a photo pass photographer, you're running as strong as you possibly could. And then you get past them and you're like, okay, time to walk again.
I feel like I've really mastered the sort of like fake run, slow-mo situation for post photo.
Nice.
I've always
Gotta
said
do
that I
it.
think if anybody's, disengaged from our Run Disney photos, that apparently I run every race with my hands completely up in the air, doing something funny
The
or
single pose.
yeah,
Mhm.
thumbs up or peace sign or that's how I ran the whole race, just with the peace sign, the whole thing.
Usually I have some
So
kind of skirt, so I'm doing like a fake run curtsy situation.
Ah, nice. Yeah.
I love it. I love it so much. I love it. So, okay. So we've got your Disney fandom start. We got your Run Disney beginning. Now, Michelle will tell you she thought I was insane when we decided we wanted to start this podcast. And I still think she thinks that, which we may or may not be. How did you two decide to enter in the insanity that is starting your amazing podcast, the Stride Sisters podcast?
Natalie kind of already like had the idea, but I didn't know about it for a long time. Like she'd been considering this like with her cousin Maz and stuff, but I was the one who like slid into the chat and was like, "So like what if what if we talked about this not just in our group chat, but like basically on the phone for other people to hear all the time?"
Yes, we were in the middle of planning my wedding, and by I mean Mr. Natalie and I.
I was
But
emotional support.
yes,
Excuse
you
me.
definitely were. You absolutely were. But it was one of those things where you get to a certain point of wedding planning and you want to talk about anything else. And I was at the point of wanting to talk about pretty much anything else. We had both, it was our wedding. We also had just closed on our house. We were building and we thought it was going to be after the wedding. It was before. And I'm like, I need to talk about something that's not logistical and is like just fun for me. It was definitely, it all worked out the way it should have, but it was definitely one of those points where I'm like, wow, between that, also, my full-time job, I need to think about something else and do something else with myself. And it was just a kind of like, I was like, all right, I'm nothing before the wedding or then when we were moving from into the house after the wedding. It was like nothing before then, but okay, we can. I was more open to the idea of actually kind of just committing. And Hannah was the one who really kind of was like, okay, we're going to start recording this day and then we're going to see what happens. And then kind of the master scheduler behind it.
We have a big Excel spreadsheet.
Oh yeah, we do. Oh yeah, we do. And it was good because she was the one who kind of almost like the kick in the pants of like, all right, we might as well try this out and just start. And I'm glad because then, I am a planner, but it was good to kind of, it wasn't spontaneous because she had put all the planning into it, but to me, kind of like, it was kind of one of those like, all right, let's just dive in. And then now it's good.
She needed a little push off the cliff.
Yes. I'm someone who overcommits themselves a good amount. And so it's like, but it's just every time I'm like, oh, this is going to be different. And then I find something else to slide into that time. So it's great.
She doesn't know how to be not busy.
No, I don't.
Well, I mean, I think what's really great that I love about it is how you really do show the genuine interest to help others. And it's not judgmental, no shade or anything like that. It's just really very positive, as Tom said. And when you bring guests on, it's fun, it's exciting, and just love the whole format that you all have embarked on.
Yeah. We always want everyone to feel welcome and like anyone could be a part of the community. We don't want anyone to feel like, oh, I'm too fast, I'm too slow, I'm too whatever. Everyone is welcome. And we are really conscious to make sure that everyone can find a space in our community.
Yes.
Well, I mean, that's what, Run Disney is all about. I think that's part of the reason why we love it so much is because of that. It's all the support. It's all the different ranges we have from, like world-class athletes running in these races down to people that have just barely gotten off the couch and are trying it for the first time, but you're trying to do something and have some fun and enjoy this amazing. And then there's everything in between and the whole aspect of it, the magic of it. It's hard to express to somebody who's never experienced it. We always say, try it, try a 5K, try something, and then see, you may get hooked like so many of us have. I'm curious as to, okay, so you've run many Run Disney races now as you've gone through this. Is there a favorite theme or a favorite race that is like, that's it, this is what it's all about for Run Disney for me? Hannah, why don't you start?
That's a very tough question because I love the magic of Princess, but my fiance and I always do sort of like one race together every year, and our preference is actually marathon weekend to do together. So, because there is something just about like the magnitude and the like awe that comes with marathon weekend, but I think in my heart of hearts, I'm a Princess girly.
What about you, Natalie?
Unsurprisingly, I have a similar answer. I am a Princess girly. I love Princess. It's where I started. It's where my first half marathon was, where my first challenge was. But there is something about Marathon Sunday. There is something about even the whole magnitude of the weekend. I mean, I always go into the weekend as like a very like cognizant of making sure I like congratulate everybody I see with every medal, because I want people who are doing that first 5K ever or first 10K ever to feel just as celebrated as people who do the Dopey Challenge. And I want them to feel like, like that could be your Dopey, and that's fantastic if it is. It could be your stepping stone to eventually what, and even if you don't ever want to do marathon, this could be like what it is for you. So there's just something special about, the camaraderie, especially a lot of us loonies have been awake for like 4 days and, running a marathon at the end of that. So there's the camaraderie there of just like, all right, everybody, we're almost there. It has like a unit, or, this is the last bad part of the course, and then it's all fun from here. Or this is, like, I don't know, I like end up usually giving away my sport beans if I collect them and if I'm not going to use them because I have other fuel I like better. And people will be like, oh, are you sure? I'm like, oh no, I have plenty. Like, I don't know. You sounded like you seemed like you needed it more than I did. They're like, thank you so much. And I try to like embody that. Like I like to stay to the end of the finish line if I can, as well, to like cheer in the last finishers. But yeah, I also think like right at the finish line, even for any distance, is so special, because I hooted and hollered my little head off at Disneyland Halloween this year, right around the bend where you were about to crest over and see the finish line. I had myself a time, I just hooting and hollering the last 30 minutes of it. And it was a lot of people who were like, also like, well, probably surprised to see a little girl yelling at them, but in a good way. But it's magical. It's so magical.
Yeah, it's just not the same as anywhere else. And even like I've run Chicago, and Natalie's about to, or maybe just has, depending on when you're hearing this. Ooh. Run her first, but people are really supportive at big races and local races and stuff, but I'm the kind of person who wants to wear my medal around all day, possibly even to the grocery store. And if I see someone else in the wild that has done the same race as me, you better believe I'm going to congratulate you just as if I'm at Disney. I get some weird looks. I went to the grocery store in my full, like, sparkly getup post Peachtree Road Race this year, and I had a lot of people staring at me like, why is she covered in glitter in public?
It's fun.
That's one thing we always say about Disney parks in general, right? Or just being a Disney resort property, is that they really give you permission and encourage you to, be the child within and really, touch that soft spot in your heart and be able to display that. So, and I'm glad you all recognize that, even for those people doing 5Ks, that could be quite an accomplishment,
Mhm. That's why we like to never say like only about any distance, because every distance should be celebrated. I mean, I have a business that makes temporary tattoos, like encouraging that. That's the whole vibe of runDisney is what I try and put in that. And my very first tattoo that I ever designed for it was every start line is a victory, because it doesn't matter what you're stepping up to. You chose to have that bravery and make that choice, and that should be celebrated.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, you're getting out there and you're doing it. It doesn't matter. Like you mentioned, 5K could be a marathon for some people who are just getting started in this. And you never know where you might go from there. It might be only you're just doing 5Ks. And a lot of people like just the 5Ks. I don't want to, use up all my time training and running a 10K or running a half marathon or a marathon or Dopey or any of these things. That's fine. And that's great. And you do you, and we're there to support you and cheer you on and I feel like that is such a key thing with runDisney. Yes, it's true of all races. I mean, we've been in other races as well, and there's always support, but there's just something extra. There's just that extra pixie dust from being at runDisney. And I think that's why we're here. That's why we appreciate it so much. And that's why we wake up at 3 a.m. and are out there in the course at these ridiculous times. And I hear it all the time. I go to the expos and you hear people grumble about it. And yet these same people are going to see there at the next race weekend as well. It says something.
I do want to tap in on Natalie, some of your energy. I know, like you've shared that you're the first one out of bed. You got your false eyelashes on before anybody else has even gotten up or poured a cup of coffee. I love that. I need that. Send that
Bottle it.
vibe.
Send it our way.
I'm the one looking, where's my other sock? It's time to go.
See, 10 years ago, me would be kind of horrified. I was not a morning person. I didn't like running either. And 10 years ago, me would be very confused about this whole thing, because even just the transition to being like a little bit more of a morning workout person has been, I woke up too early, but it's too late to go back to bed. And now I'm mad. And now I'm frustrated with that fact. And because I'm not going to risk oversleeping. So I might as well do something with that time. And that's how, kind of like the groove of the, all right, like getting the lashes on. That's how that started, because I had all this extra time. I was too afraid of laying back down, and then it's going to be 5:30 in the morning, and then I'm going to miss my half, and then I don't get dopey. So just, like get up, get rolling. And that's, it's just all kind of part of the fun and games.
That's awesome.
It is. It's all part of it. I think Michelle has mentioned, like one of the humps she had to get over on these races is realizing, you know what, if I don't sleep the night before, or at least get very little, it's okay. I'm gonna get through it. And we're gonna have a great time no matter what, right, Michelle?
Yeah, that was a big sticking point for me for a lot of races. It's like panic. I would have realized that, okay, I can't get to sleep. I can't get to sleep. And then finally, after maybe 2.5 hours sleep, I'm up and I got to run. And oh my God, this is going to be terrible. And I don't know what finally made it click to say, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter if you get the sleep, and just go out and have a good time.
I'm part of grandma dinner club, so
I'm the one who will send the whole chat, or the multiple chats with like, it's the witching hour. It's time to go to bed.
at like 5.
Yes. Or like, I'm showering right now. I can function on the less sleep, but I'm a lot better if I get more sleep. And also it's within discretion too. It depends on what I'm doing that weekend. So when Disneyland, I woke up fresh as a daisy about a month ago. It was great because I went to bed. I was so tired. I like the night before I was like, no rules. Like, I'm not like, yeah, this is just a catered training run. And then I was really tired and then went to bed at 8. And then before the half, I was asleep at 5:30. I wasn't just in bed. I was asleep because I went out. Natalie out. I was done. It was Betty bye time. But you kind of like still get to like, I also have done it where I went from not so scary, slept 2 hours. Hannah thankfully woke me up and for a 5K. And then I woke up, or then I got up that morning. I was like, oh boy. And it's like that experience, and that, like, I like to say the camp of it, of the fun of the sport of the, like, yeah, that was a weird thing to do, but it's fun in the way. And it was one of my slap happier, and it was the Muppet race. So of course you can be a little slap happy for that.
I think that just goes with the course with the Muppets, right?
Yeah,
you got to be slap happy, right?
So Natalie, something you mentioned a little bit earlier here today, and we know that that sometimes it can be really difficult to secure a bib during the sign-on time of Run Disney, and you're kind of like the poster child of, hey, don't worry, be happy kind of thing, that you can still do that. For those of us who haven't done that before, tell us a little bit how you other options of getting a bib for a Run Disney race.
Pro.
I'm like the wizard, I think. So something that you can do, charity options are fantastic. And sometimes if something's looking kind of precarious, like the Merida 5K for Princess this year, I did charity before registration even started, because I wouldn't say I wasn't interested in battling it out for that, but I was like, I think I'd rather just be done and have that and not have to worry about that part of things. So you can.
She says still getting into the queue for all of us.
Oh yeah, no, I still get in, but I was like, if I can take care of my bib at least, and then, be there as like standby for somebody else. That'll make me feel better so that I'm not like then letting other people, whew. But I am a little bit of a wizard, the 30-day bib girly. And there are charities, charities will keep their bibs open until they sell out. And I would keep your eye on that. Some of them do reduce fundraising. I do try to do my best. I have gotten some reduced fundraising bibs in the past, but also, I am I fundraise for Chicago. So that's why I was kind of like looking for the either reduced or lower for now, because I'm part of the Historic American Cancer Society team running Chicago, or that just ran Chicago, but I can get to that later. But that, or there's a bot that Team runDiz made that will kind of flash availability for races, and that it picks up when the race reopens and then sends out a notification through Discord, through Twitter X, through I believe Telegram. And it'll be like, challenge is open. You can hop into the queue and then kind of try your best. Usually they are pretty quick openings. I do pay attention for when they're a little bit longer, but exclusive little sneaky here is that sometimes what I'll do is I'll get into the queue and I know I'm not getting in that time. And this is say it's October and you're looking for a marathon weekend in January bib. So I'm not talking general registration, but I will get in. I'll get to the screen that says this is all sold out. Participants are full. It's closed. And I'll just kind of sit and wait. And I don't click out of my tab. I'll refresh. Or I'll wait for it to get that Discord or Telegram notification later that goes, oh, it's reopened. Because if I refresh, then that takes me right into the queue and I don't have to wait in the virtual queue. It takes me right to the page to register. So that
taking notes.
Yeah.
That's how I've gotten a little bit lucky or lately. Sometimes it is just I open, I get my stuff typed in, I whiff, I do it again, I whiff, and then I get it. But I've noticed the kind of like the I like the hovering, and just kind of refreshing and waiting for stuff. Also, it is worthwhile to notice like timing and stuff. So usually around that 30-day mark out from that's around when a lot of charities have to turn their bibs back in. So if they turn their bib back in, Disney will then sell it. And that's when you'll see challenge openings. And that's when you'll see different openings. Sometimes I know Disneyland, I feel like, is a little bit of a wild card because they had a lot of openings 1 week out this year, because that is also how I got my half marathon into a challenge, because for that, you don't even have to really jump through the queue process. There's a button to switch categories. And as long as you're upgrading, you can switch categories. So
upgrading and available.
Yes, it must be available first, but to switch categories, you can only kind of go up, or you can only go up. So half to a challenge, or 10K to a challenge, or half to Goofy or Dopey. So the wizard here.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
it's crazy. And you just snagged just a couple of weeks ago a bib for Food and Wine when you said you weren't going to go because it's right after the Chicago Marathon. And there you are.
Yeah. And then if
And
you
you
have
can
like,
buy these. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and if you have like a group of friends and you're all trying to get in, like it helps to have other eyes watching. Because what if you're in a meeting or you're doing something right and the alert comes through, maybe your friend will see it and then you guys can like sign up for each other and stuff. You just got to be aware, make sure you don't both simultaneously sign up so you get duplicate registrations.
Yeah. So to find the charities, you can find them still on the Run Disney site, right?
Yes, there should be a link to them on the Run Disney website. I see often on Facebook groups when charities are either looking to, we still have some spots open for this race, or we still have, I also now have worked with a couple of charities. So those are the first places I go. So even though sometimes I've gotten that like lower fundraising bib now, I'm like, okay, well now I'm going to be more likely to want to fundraise the full amount for you because you were awesome to work with. And also I tend to like to fundraise for charities that mean something to me. because it puts purpose behind the miles. It puts purpose behind the fundraising. It's, I
Less
yeah.
awkward to ask your friends and family for money when you care
Yes.
about it.
Or work to match the donation. It's like, well, this is something that is really important to me, and it gives me like a, reason as to why.
Nice.
And it puts, especially when things can get a little tough, either in training or during a race, it kind of puts that meaning behind, okay, I wear this American Cancer Society singlet because that's who I've fundraised for the most, because this is what I mean, or this is like what this means to me. And at the end of the day, no matter what happens on this course, no matter what happens on the day, I fundraised X amount for charity and, working towards a cure for cancer or a research grant for cancer. So that's been very impactful and meaningful for me.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and you don't really think of it too much when you think, because you're running Run Disney in general when you're just purchasing a bib, and you're not even I mean, they're all run for charity. They
Mhm.
all are. You just don't really think of it. I've had it before. Like, what charity are you running for this race? And I'm like, I forgot it, but maybe it's Make-A-Wish. I don't remember. I don't know. But yeah, when you can add that extra emphasis on your
Right.
bib, that's always a great thing for sure. 100%. So okay, you've secured the bib now, and you're excited for this Run Disney race. Maybe it's your first Run Disney race. I'm curious as to maybe some training tips that you two might have, like for somebody who's just getting started, or maybe somebody who's run some races but has never run a Run Disney race before. Hannah, what are your favorite tips for somebody in those genres or those areas?
Well, first, I'd like to say that I'm not a trained professional, just in case. I have no qualifications. But I think the biggest tip I can say is find a training schedule, whether that's a program through Disney, through Jeff Galloway, or through a coach or an app or whatever that works for your schedule. Like, don't go into a race thinking like, oh, I can train 7 days a week if you've never trained. I mean, one, you need rest days. But also, like, if you don't regularly train that much, don't try and jump from 0 to like 6, 7 days, whatever, a week. Start slow. If you've always been someone who works out a lot and you're just now like you already work out that much and you're just training what you're like switching what your training is, then maybe you can jump into a really vigorous schedule. But you don't want to overdo it too soon because one, you're not going to have a fun time, and possibly even more important, you're probably going to hurt yourself. We don't want either of those things. We want it to be fun and pain-free so that you want to keep doing it.
Yeah, I love that on your show that you break down. You like start off almost every episode with breaking down like, here is if you're doing this race, this is what you should be doing this week, and it depends on if you're just starting off or if you're a pro and you've been doing it for a long time. I love that you break that all down so people can kind of be on the know just by listening to your show.
Yeah, the Galloway training is free and on the Run Disney website. So if you don't have if you have no clue where to start, I think that's a really good place to start, especially super beginner friendly because they have different tiers, I guess. Like they have beginner, they have experienced, they have different plans for basically every distance. And they're very what I think is like a reasonable amount for a beginner as well. Regardless of whether you're brand new or an experienced runner, most of the plans, Dopey exception, and Goofy exception, only go to 3 days a week. So you'll run like twice during the week and once on the weekend. And then if you want to incorporate strength or whatever on your off days or cross training, they talk about that. And the plans are very well written where they have, if you actually print the whole thing out or read it on the PDF, the first couple pages where they give you the plan, they talk about what you should be doing on your off days, how to find a pace that's good for you. They talk about run, walk, run. They talk about, once you get into more experienced ones, they'll talk about this is how you can incorporate some speed on certain days, or this is how you can vary up your workouts. So they're really good, especially if, they're free. So what more can you ask for?
Yeah, definitely take
Yeah.
advantage of it for sure, especially if you just don't know
Right.
the concept behind training for these races, because maybe you've never done one or never,
Mhm.
maybe you're extending to something you've never done before. For sure,
Mhm.
take advantage of that. Natalie, I'm curious on your tips, maybe for new runners or for runners that have never tried Run Disney before.
Definitely would echo making sure that you find something that works for you, because, some people really love running 6 days a week. That's great. I don't. I kind of came to the realization this summer with training for Chicago, where even the jump from 3 to 4 every single week was like, dang, I'm running a lot.
Mhm.
So, it ended up working out fine, but, finding something that works and is going to be realistic for your schedule. I know that some plans that like have you doing like 8 miles on a Wednesday in December, that's not going to work for me, she says, having done some like 8.5s for speed work. We're not talking about that. But so finding something that is being most realistic with yourself too, I'd say. I get the question a lot of like kind of like a zero to dopey type thing. And it sounds somewhat counterintuitive, but I ask like, do you like distance running?
Mhm.
Because if you don't, you might not have fun. um, I would make sure, like, I was like, I would start at least do a 10K, at least do a half if you can, because you want to make sure that you're going to enjoy, because you're going to be doing a lot of distance running.
Mhm.
And again, some people don't like going beyond an hour of running. That's totally cool, but you're going to have a rough time. um, but also, I would say the communities are fantastic online. There's different subgroups for, different podcast groups. There's different subgroups for Marathon Weekend 2026. And then there's Wine and Dine 2025. And it's really great to be on the same like page as other people. But I would say sometimes, again, it's kind of comparison can be the thief of joy. So if you are rolling, like you love your Galloway, you love having like, I love a nice long runway for training, because it just feels so achievable. I'm like, wow, I'm already on week 5. I've been at this for 6 weeks. This is awesome. Oh, and now like the mileage is getting to here. This is great. Versus, when you jump in, it's like, ooh, that's like a scary number right there. It's just, making sure that like you do what's like going to be best for your body and that's sustainable for you to do.
Mhm.
I'd say usually like kind of like thinking through your training, but then not thinking too hard, because again, a lot of questions also about people being scared of like their 10 miler, their 20 miler, depending on what you're training for. But you don't need to be scared about that from the start. That's future use problem, first of all. And secondly, a good training plan is going to work you up that way. So, don't worry about 7 miles don't worry about your 10K when you're on your first week of training. You'll get there. You'll get there as long as you kind of continue your training. Try not to worry too much about, how scary that feels. Cause then, the way you step up is, 1.5 to 2 miles at a time for your long runs. And it feels a lot more achievable, just breaking it down run by run, week by week. Um, try not to sweat the small stuff.
Yeah. And then not training related, but like I would really say in your first race, I guess it kind of is training related because it'll impact your training, but um it's really hard, but like don't set a time goal. We like to say you should PR in fun, especially at a Disney race, because let's be honest, especially, I mean, if you're doing the 5K, it's crowded the whole time because you're in the park and those walkways are not the widest. Um, and for longer distances, there are bottlenecks. There are plenty of bottlenecks on the course. So, like, I wouldn't say Disney races are especially built for PRs unless you're thinking you are going to win the race and then, maybe go for it. Woo. But just enjoy, because there's so many opportunities that are different from any other race. There's character stops. And when you get into if you're running the marathon, then, people create their own challenges of riding rides and having snacks and all kinds of things that they want to achieve that are absolutely not at all related to the actual activity at hand. Um, and it's special. They are expensive. So why would you want to like rush through something rather than enjoy every second of it. Like you're getting I mean, I'm not saying you have to like walk the whole thing if you don't want to or whatever, but like why would you rush when you could spend time in Disney with minimal people compared to like the normal park day? So it's very magical. Also because they're late, like or like not late, but like it's still dark for most of the race. The lights are up and it's just like magical.
Mhm. And there's
Completely
unique
agree.
characters that you won't see
Mhm.
anyplace else on the course.
Yeah.
That you never know who you're going to run into. You're like, I'll never see that in the parks on a given day. But at Run Disney, they break them out, and
Mhm.
it's fantastic. And I completely agree. I mean, you're spending a lot of if you want to go set a PR, go run in the race you're spending 30, $40 on rather than one you're spending $300, $400 to run a challenge or something, If you want to set a PR, there's nothing wrong with that. I've set a PR at a Disney race before. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's
I
just
have
like,
as well. But I
yeah.
wouldn't say that it's always but it's not my number one goal. If I also happen to get that, then it's just like the cherry on top.
Mhm. Exactly. Exactly.
Do either or both of you have like traditions or some quirky things that you do when you're preparing like on race day or the night before race day for a Run Disney event?
Natalie does, for sure.
Let's hear it, Natalie.
Oh, I'm quirky. So I have my PR ritual. Um and it involves going back to the expo on Saturday. I have to go do compression boots. Um at the Run Disney Expos, they have a lot of different vendors. You can try out their stuff, pretty sweet. And I go wait for the compression boots. I get my knees taped up and I go talk to Jeff Galloway. And instructions unclear because Jeff Galloway's not going to be at Chicago or wasn't at Chicago. So I had to get that in advance at Disneyland. I was like, all right, Jeff, we're not talking Disneyland right now. We're talking Chicago. And because I see him pretty much every expo now. So he knows, and he's like, oh, how have you been? Like, how's training been going?
Aw.
He's such a nice person. So even if you're not doing a PR ritual, he definitely recommend going to chat with him. Just if you have any questions, if you have any just advice from a seasoned runner who's seen it all and seen the sport evolve over years. But I like my little ritual. Another ritual thing is that Mr. Natalie gives me my marathon socks before every marathon. And so we have acquired the socks, everybody, where it kind of just started where it's like, okay, what do you want for Christmas? Because usually the marathon is right after Christmas. I go, running socks. He's like, you gotta be like, he's like, I can't get you socks. I'm like, no, I want socks. I want socks so badly. You have no idea. Like a good pair of socks can really make the difference. So he gives me a pair of socks. It's kind of like my little good luck ritual before every marathon so far. And, like I have some of my favorite fuel sometimes that I like, I haven't ordered another like set of salted lime goos because those are my favorite. I have 2 left that I'm saving for Chicago because those are my favorites. So I'm a little like superstitious person. And, even though I know you can look me up in runner tracking, like I don't post my bib number publicly. And I know, well, you can remove yourself from tracking, fun fact, but live tracking, but I know you can find it, but I still won't post it because I've never had a problem when I haven't posted it. So why would I start now? So having the Chicago Marathon will be a little bit out of my element in certain things. So that'll be interesting in a way because I am so used to the Run Disney aspect of things, but I am a little quirk. I'm a little quirk monster over here where it's like, I have just these things that I do and they have worked well at this point. And, why would I change that? Because they have worked. I felt very Dillo. I feel very honorary Dillo right now.
They'd be proud.
I think you passed over one of my favorite Natalie pre-race traditions, which is flat Natalie.
Oh,
Right
yeah.
before, where you get to see what your outfit is going to be all laid out on your bed and ready to go.
That's true. Flat Nat is a tradition. She is sometimes if I'm in a room alone, she gets her own bed.
Flat
But
Nat goes to bed earlier than anyone else.
that is so true because Flat Nat actually goes out. Like if I'm doing a multi-day rate or multi-day challenge, she goes out after I shower from the first race so that I don't want to have tired me looking for socks. I don't want tired me looking for anything. She's out primed and ready. And she like the bib is switched if I need to switch bibs, like for the dopey challenge. Oh yeah, Flat Nat is because Flat Nat is she's a legend. She's a star. She's gonna look a little different for Chicago, but
Love it. Love it.
How about you, Hannah? Do you have any pre-race rituals or anything you need to do to be prepared?
No, I mean, I also do a flat Hannah, I guess. I just don't always post it on social media, so not everyone sees it. But I like to make sure all of the pieces for the entire outfit are laid out the night before. I fill if I'm running with my vest or a belt or whatever, I always fill stuff, whatever, except for the bladder because I don't want warm water or whatever in my bladder. But I will go ahead and fill the whole thing the night before because the one time that I didn't, I left something very important in the hotel room and was like, of course, the one time because I thought I wasn't going to need anything at all, and then I decided I was going to bring a little something, and then it's just don't risk it. Tired brain is a bad plan. So yeah, I do all of that the night before, and I guess I kind of have a tradition for breakfast the morning of is that I like to have an I would toast it, to be fair, if there was a toaster, but there isn't. An untoasted, grocery store bagel and peanut butter is, the thing that I have. I tried a lot of different breakfasts, and I am an anxious person. So this is why I do as much as I can ahead of time to leave as little up to the chance in the morning. But I tend to not really want to eat anyways. I tried oatmeal, I tried crackers, I tried all the things. And so far, bagel with peanut butter is the only thing that doesn't make me feel even worse or that I can the idea of it now because I've been doing it so long actually makes me oh yeah, okay, cool. We're getting ready. It's morning. We're getting ready to go. Bring on that bagel. And I eat the bagel in bed under the sheets before I get up. So
Cute.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So okay, we've got the bib, we've done the training, we've done the pre-race rituals. You're on the course. What are you listening to? What is your soundtrack for the course? Is it music? Is it a book on tape? Is it the Hyperion Adventures podcast? Because it should be. What are you listening to when you're out? What are you listening to when you're on your race day, but also on your training days? Hannah, why don't you start?
I kind of mix it up. So I kind of save music for when if I'm struggling. Because one, when I'm not struggling and I listen to music, I tend to run too fast because I'm having a little too much fun, which I'm going to regret later on a long run. And so I usually start with podcasts, or if my fiance is feeling particularly chatty, sometimes we talk for the first little bit. That usually goes downhill pretty quick. He's not chatty Cathy. So then I have podcasts. I do save Rise and Run, Hyperion, all my running podcasts, plus true crime. I'm really into true crime. So if I haven't listened to them during the week, if I know I have a really long one coming up, I'll save them, or I'll go back into the show's backlog back 3 years. So I know that I didn't listen to it in a really long time. So it'll feel new, and I'll save that and download that so I can re-listen on my runs. And then I just pre-download everything before I go because I've never run into this on a training run, but I have during races is if there's too many people, the network gets bogged down and it's hard. It's streaming music is not advised during during a Disney race or really any race, to be honest. So download those playlists ahead of time And it's also better for your battery life if they're already downloaded streaming wise, which is a big thing that we see all over the Facebook pages before, like in the week or two before, when people are panicking, realizing that their watch is going to die, their phone's going to die. How am I going to keep the battery going for the whole duration of the race? So yeah.
Good point.
But I
What
do
about
have
you,
a Disney
Natalie?
playlist. That's the Disney. It's the music that gets me going.
Nice. Nice. What about you, Natalie?
Training runs at this point, it's pretty exclusively podcasts. So thank you guys for your sacrifice, because let me tell you,
We do it for you.
oh, thank you. Where whenever, especially like, if, it's like, oh God, I'm gonna save this for Monday, so I have that for my run, or even sometimes Tuesday, or kind of like Hannah, I'll like stack things if I have a really long run, or if I know that something's going to be particularly difficult, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get the Hamilton episode like waiting for me. But during races, I, for the most part, listen to nothing. It depends. It does kind of depend. Kind of like what Hannah said, do have some things I keep on standby for if I'm in the pain cave. I will do a full listen through of Harmonious if I am suffering and I need to. Also, if I just I know I have like this wide open, usually I'm like the Disney highways where I have this wide open area to cook. I'll put on Harmonious, and I absolutely feel like I could fight a bear by the end of that. So I just kind of have those opportunities. But I think both my first two, well, I know my very first marathon, I didn't put anything on. I just was entertained by the course. Hamilton has made it in a little bit. So sometimes when I'm having a little bit of a rough speed workout, and I know I have 5 minutes left of it, I know that there are certain Hamilton songs that fit like real nice into there, or I have like a couple minutes left. Who could feel anything other than pumped if you you're listening to Who Lives, Who Dies, Who Tells Your Story, who, history has its eyes on you. And, in the grand scheme of things, like this is, I mean, if I'm the main character in this little piece of history, history does have its eyes on me, but, like this is, you want to get your glory out of it, then, it definitely helps to have something to amp you up a little bit, especially if things are getting tough. I do need to make my little download of things for Chicago. I have been told that the course is so hyped that not bother, but there are only a couple quiet zones, but just even have like the comfort of, those couple little hype up things like, okay, let's go, turn over the legs. Like, let's go. Especially once I get to that final 10K of the marathon. And especially if I kind of am starting to hurt a little bit, or get to the hurt locker, I know that I have a couple things that up my sleeve. Fantasmic used to be my number one, but Harmonious unseated it for, I would do a full listen through of Fantasmic, because I would just be buzzing by the end. But it's turned into Harmonious, because who can't be jazzed and amped when you're hearing like Godspeed This Bright Millennium? I'm like, yes, like sprinting, like my last couple like seconds of my speed interval, I'm like, let it come. I'm like just absolutely ripping. Because then it also helps with visualization in a way where I can visualize the Run Disney finish lines. I can kind of visualize what I'm coming for in Chicago. Like I've seen enough pictures of it, but as I keep saying, I fear Mount Chicago, which is the only incline on the course, which is right at mile 26. I fear Mount Chicago, but I will not be defeated by Mount Chicago.
You'll be fine.
I know I'll be fine. Nebraska is very hilly. Fun fact. And I've been sprinting hills because I don't know why I think I'm going to be climbing up, basically like climbing on my hands and knees up this hill, but that's how I've been preparing for it. And I'm like, I'm not going to miss my shot. I'm not going to give up the opportunity to hit my goal because of a hill.
It is less intense than a Disney on-ramp. You're going to be okay.
Yes, I know, but it basically needs to be Everest right now so that I like amp myself up. Like I'm going to be hiking Mount Kilimanjaro in my head.
Well, we love it. And we're just going to say right now, as this is dropping, we're recording this a couple weeks ahead of time, but this is dropping. Congratulations, Natalie, because we have faith in you. And we know Chicago is going to be a blast for you. And then you're going to limp through Wine and Dine here in the coming week. And that's okay. That's okay. We'll be all there to support you virtually. We're not going to be
Right.
out there this race, but we'll be there virtually supporting you. But want to tell you both, thank you for being so generous with your time and giving us so much. You guys' podcast is amazing. We love it so much. Only a year in, I only seen more great things ahead for you both. It's fantastic. Please tell our listeners where they can find your show and where they can follow you both on social media.
You can find us at Stride Sisters Podcast on most of your social media platforms, except for the Twitter X that we don't really post on, which is Stride Sis Pod. But you can, we are, I would say, most active on Instagram. We have our own Facebook community that you can join. We put that in the show notes on how to join, some questions to answer, and then we vet you. But it's definitely a very fun, but I'd say Instagram is where we're the most active at. And then the Facebook group is fun because it's very funny because sometimes people will just put in like a little like ad lib from like the episode or like something they laughed at. And Hannah and I go, oh shoot, what was it? Oh, that's what we're laughing at. It's like, wow, I guess I forgot.
Yeah. This week in our group, we got a fun like AI generated art thing, and I was very sleep deprived, and I thought it was an M&M holding beer, but it was actually an egg holding beans, which was, you should go listen to our episode from which week was that, Natalie?
Episode 63.
Yeah. And you'll understand what the egg and beans reference means.
I like it. I need to find that one now.
Yeah, I know.
What that means. And Hannah, you mentioned it already, but you have a new business that is out there and hopefully doing well, I assume, because it's an amazing concept. Could you tell everybody a little bit about your business?
Yeah. I just started in August, the Startline Co. We make running and whimsical, inspirational, magical themed temporary tattoos. We have a wide range of selection. I also make custom shoe designs for each race weekend and each race in the weekend. So if you're running a particular race and you're looking for that, that will be available. And I also do custom orders. So if you have something that means something very special to you and you would like to express that, then just go on the little contact page and send me a message. The website is thestartlineco.com.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's
We
amazing.
also have
I
an
love the
Instagram.
concept.
So.
Right. It's wonderful.
Love the idea. I think it's fantastic. We'll definitely be posting that in our show notes. So if you're all looking to find those temporary tattoos, they're there. And then the Stride Sisters podcast, you're definitely going to want to find, because especially if you're even considering do a Run Disney race, but just because you've heard them, they're amazing people and they're so fun, right, Michelle?
Oh, absolutely. So fun, so positive, and very encouraging to everybody. So that's super special.
Yeah. And again, Natalie, you're going to kill it.
Yeah.
By the time you heard this, you just killed it for sure. And we're looking forward to getting out there with you all. We're not running till Disneyland, and then we're doing Princess, but looking forward to hopefully seeing you both out there at those races and many, many more to come. Thank you so much, Hannah,
Yes,
Natalie,
thank
Stride
you.
Sisters podcast, for joining us on the show and being so generous with your time.
Thanks for having us.